to order the meeting at 9:35. Roll call.
Laurie Mills.
Catherine Horn.
Bill McDuffie.
Colleen Preheim.
Okay. Public comments?
It's 9:30.
Oh, 9:30. Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to read my comments into the record just in the interest of time. My name is Robert Patterson. I've lived at 3205 Pickwick, across the street from the park, for 31 years. And for the first 30 years, I went to the park every day, usually twice a day. Everybody who lives close to the park knows that baseball season is litter season, so for 3 decades, I was the litter pickup guy up there. Every morning I'd go up and pick up all the litter left by the baseball parents and their children. And one day I concentrated on the hill right back here behind City Hall, and I picked up 2 30-gallon trash bags of litter in a single day. So that experience caused me to spearhead the effort to get the contract on the fields away from Western Hills Little League and into the hands of girls softball, as I found them to be more respectful of the park and more responsive. I was there working the day we planted the trees along Rollingwood Drive. While on the Park Commission, I led the initiative to establish the Waterwise Educational Garden, a nationally recognized public-private partnership designed to beautify the area, educate the public about landscape alternatives, and save our precious drinking water. A year of my research led to the retaining wall over in that part of the park, over there above the lower playground, protecting the children from falling rocks and trees and beautifying the area. I led the drive to stop renting the pavilion to hundreds of people from all over the region, as their 60 huge birthday parties a year were negatively impacting the quality of life for residents around the park. 100% of what I did over 3 decades was designed to make the park a more beautiful and inviting place for residents of Rollingwood, the people who live here. I don't go to the park anymore. Over the past 2 to 3 years, the actions of Park Commission and Council have, in my opinion, made the park a hostile and unwelcoming place. I feel that if I step 1 foot in the park, someone will run out and rage at me over some little rule I didn't know about. Emblematic of this attitude are the signs at every entrance to the pretty much the only remaining field where Rollingwood residents can gather. The signs say, "Welcome to Rollingwood Park, no, 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 no." If the signs were not so tragically inappropriate and unnecessary, I would find them comical. They seem to me like something written by the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. Welcome to the park, no soup for you. Preemptive scolding. Interestingly, there are no soup Nazi signs on the fields currently reserved mostly for the exclusive use of organizations defined by contract as tenants, visitors to the city. They don't have any soup Nazi signs. I don't know why. I'm not one to complain about problems without proposing potential solutions. So first, I would ask you to please remember that Rollingwood Park is not Zilker Park. Zilker Park is a large area with almost no contiguous housing. Rollingwood Park is a small area with 100% contiguous housing. Every time something happens in the park, it affects one of your neighbors who lives directly across the street. Going forward, please bear that in mind. Secondly, your constituency is comprised of the residents of Rollingwood, the people who live here. Everything you do should be done to protect and provide for the residents, those who paid for and those who own the park. Thirdly, anytime you legislate rules, regulations, or enforcements in the park, you are taking the police away from red light runners, stop sign runners, speeders, texters driving on the streets full of children riding their bicycles, people blowing by stop school buses, and burglars and car break-ins. So before you legislate something about the park, please ask yourselves which is more important. Finally, and most importantly in my opinion, primum non nocere, which means first do no harm in Latin. One of my medical school professors wrote this on a blackboard in chalk, believe it or not, within the first 30 seconds of our first day of medical school. He advised us, if you don't learn anything else, learn this. This has been a guiding principle in my life, both professionally and in general, for 45 years. The principle basically states that it is always better to do nothing than to do something which may result in unintended consequences and do more harm than good. Going forward during your deliberations, I respectfully suggest that anytime one of your options is to do nothing, please choose that option. Step back, wait for more data. In doing so, you will create much less controversy and make far fewer mistakes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, discussion and possible action on the minutes from December 10th.
We had one more sign up for
Oh, okay.
public comment. I'm sorry, I'm here for, number 11. Oh, okay. You need to be during that item. Yeah.
All right, has everybody read the minutes from last meeting? Any changes? Okay, make a motion to approve the minutes from December 10th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, minutes approved. All right, regular agenda. Number 3, discussion on our report from Western Hills Girls Softball. Steve Franks here.
Hello, thank you very much. Not much to report. I don't know if we want to roll 3 and a 4. We're still discussing lease. But up there, really, no one's, none of the leagues are really using it right now. We're on extension through January. We are tentatively going forward, like we will have a lease. So registrations are ongoing right now for both Little League and softball. I don't know the exact days on Little League's startup stuff, but I believe it's probably in the same realm of what we're scheduled to do, which is our opening weekend is supposed to be Saturday, February 29th. And then that would run through the week of May 16th. That's our normal season. And we would be there pretty much, well, keep in mind that, we travel too, so, but we'll be there. We'll have a team or two there every weekend, other than spring break, the 2 spring break weekends, and then Easter weekend, we don't play either. And then practices will probably start, we'll have 1 or 2 teams that maybe start the week of February 3rd, and then all our teams will start practicing February 10th. And we'll get that schedule. Once the teams are set, the coaches kind of pick which night works best for their team, depending on team conflicts and things like that. And then once we have that, we'll let the city know what that schedule is, and the commission know what the full schedules are for games and practices and such. And then other than that, we're just kind of on hold. We will do, I know they've all kind of been improved, but we will do that sunscreen pretty much immediately once, here by the end of the month probably and then see how long it'll take for Viking to get out here and do it. And then I know we have everything basically ready to go, bid and materials and all that ready to go for the Little League batting cage. So once we, evidently got to a point where we knew we had the full-time lease, we were going to go forward with those 2 projects, which have already been approved. So, and that is kind of basically it. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, one thing, we walked through the park yesterday, and then we walked through the field house, and we have some issues in the field house that we're gonna have to fix with lighting and stuff like that.
Okay.
Have y'all been working on that? Cause in the bathrooms, all of the lighting covers, but like 2 maybe, are missing. And then light bulbs are missing. And then a couple of the lighting covers on the exterior just have lots of bugs in them, that are still there. But we had, we had 3 in the girls' bathroom, 2 in the boys' bathroom missing, and 2 on the exterior. Do you want us to do that and charge it back? Or are y'all going to take care of this?
I don't remember us ever doing it. So I can do it either way, whichever, the city could probably get it done quicker than I can, I would think, and then we would just pay for it. But we can also take control and make it happen also. It just might take me some time to figure out who's gonna do it, whether it's volunteers or we have to hire someone.
Amber, what do you wanna do? Because do we have the company for the light fixture, like the,
I wouldn't know. I mean, technically, it's the responsibility of the lessee,
Right.
right? And so
I would
my
think once we get the lease executed, Western Hills, Little League, we'll just send an electrician up there to fix all those lights. I don't think it's that big a deal. We'll just make it part of the lease for them to fix it. Right?
well, I guess since we're kind of rolling 3 into 4 on the lease, we had recommended saying, have the city take over the maintenance and charge it to the Little League, because just as Steve was saying, I don't know if it'll be a volunteer, I don't know if it'll be this. You say it's gonna be an electrician, it may or not be an electrician, and it may not need to be an electrician.
Well, Steve doesn't know because they're gonna be the sub lessee.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
it'll be Western Hills Little League and not Western Hills softball.
Okay,
But we can do what's easiest.
I mean,
Is it easier
we're
for
willing
us
to
to
do it. I'm just telling you, my job as city administrator is to enforce contracts.
right,
And to enforce, the contractors to do their responsibilities and not to have the city take on additional responsibilities that aren't in the contract, right? And so I guess I'm stepping out a little, I mean, I'm fine with having our city staff see if we can go up there and just fix them just to get it done. And
Right.
I'm happy to do that, but just understand that's kind of where I struggle with us taking on duties that are actually supposed to be the duties of
Well, what
the
do y'all think,
contractor.
what functions better, just like all that aside?
What do you mean?
functions better just moving forward for?
us doing it, because like yesterday, we walked through, we saw it, it'd be nice to be able to just put a work order in and then submit the invoice to the league. Because otherwise, you wind up in the telephone situation again, where we go, okay, this is wrong, let's email it and call the Little League, then y'all are calling your vendor, and then we're waiting for that to be done, and you letting us know it has been done, versus us simply getting it
Can
done.
we have park commission do that
I mean,
when it goes down and then park?
Do you have a chargeback rate set on the lease anywhere for if a city employee,
but that might
Well,
be something to look at.
if the
adding.
city employee is doing the
We'll just
work,
have
do you
a
have a chargeback
reimbursement.
rate? Yeah,
It'll just be a
an hourly reimbursement,
Yeah, whatever it is, not even hour, just whatever the cost is.
well,
but
prorated,
you
but
also have
City
to have-
staff, or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
if city
our
staff ends up
person
changing a
does
light
it-
bulb, or a bunch of light bulbs in this case,
No, we're not
We
gonna do
haven't
that.
done that.
But that
Okay.
should be part of,
That'll just be more tracking.
that should be part of, if the maintenance company is doing, right now y'all have your own maintenance company, and what we had suggested was using the city's maintenance company that cleans City Hall to start doing the maintenance contract up there. Part of that is checking light bulbs, changing all of that kind of stuff, making sure it's clean. And so that would be handled under that contract. The additional stuff I'm talking about is, okay, we've got, 7 cases on the light bulbs missing. Are they in the field house? Where are they? Has our city staff taken them down? Have y'all taken them down? Okay, if we have them and we can clean them up and put them back on, great. If not, do we need to order new ones? If so, we're the ones that know what those are, so we can order the new ones and then charge it back, but charging just a small fee for administrative and having them go out there and do that. That's what I think is probably necessary for that kind of stuff.
Whatever the time is that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an
person
hour.
takes.
I don't think Western Hills Little League will care
Okay,
on that.
all right,
I think-
okay, we'll make sure it's in the contract.
Yeah,
That
I
needs to
think-
go in there for our sake, for city staff. Like if you're saying, okay, here's the bill, the invoice for the 7 light fixtures that we've had to order, and here's a $50,
That was all part of your suggestions anyways. right?
Yeah.
All right.
So just, I mean, I'd make sure that's in there. But since we're in such limbo, I think if we wait, it may get left, fall through the cracks. I think it's better for the city to take care of it, for us to go. I mean, I can come up here and we can figure out where the light pieces are and.
I mean, as far as I know, we're not holding on to light fixtures
Okay,
in our shed or our concession
went
stand,
by.
like somebody,
okay.
they got taken
So
down.
then we
or
just
by
need to find what it was that we ordered and order new ones. Okay.
If we can still get them.
Don't say that.
I know.
Okay.
I think whenever possible, it's best for the city to take ownership, and something in the contract could be reimbursement. You could set a maximum limit, you know, and we just submit against that slush fund kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, and I don't mind
That
paying
makes sense
for it.
for a
They could
contract
ask them
that
to do
you
that.
guys
Yeah.
aren't just writing a blank check for
You're probably right.
unlimited,
We're gonna need
you
an
know, but
electrician.
you say, yeah, and then there's
Well, it's
less
just the
friction. We just
covers.
submit it, it goes above that, yeah. So,
Amber, it's just the covers though. It's not a whole new light fixture. It's just it's the light. It's
Right. I'm just nervous that we may not be able to get the exact same covers, and then also the light bulbs, and
Well, we can just order new
we'll give it a
fixtures.
try.
Yeah, if
We'll-
it's
we'll see if
easier
we
to
can-
order
Not
new
that
fixtures, that's what you
expensive.
do.
It'll be
Yeah.
easier just to get new fixtures.
Yeah.
We'll,
I-
we'll
Let's
give it a
don't
shot.
kill a
I
bunch
know
of
we've
man-hours
had
trying
to
find
order
new
new
covers.
covers before in the past.
Covers evidently would be much easier to just replace, whereas
Right.
if you're doing fixtures,
Well, you're just pulling them on and rewire, I mean, it's.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it
It's
just
not
takes a
gonna
little
take
bit.
much
It's not
time
gonna
to
take
put new ones up.
All right.
there's one thing,
Yeah.
so I'm not aware, I don't know if this has already been addressed, but when you're talking about the field house, I walked past there during the summer, there were, some kind of hornet or yellow jacket going into the wall. I don't know if you guys were.
Yeah,
aware of that.
usually I try to spray for those if I see them. They definitely get under some of the shade structures or dugouts.
This was at one of the drip holes of masonry, and certainly I can show you exactly where
Yeah,
that happened.
I will walk it. Yeah, I'll usually walk it before each of the seasons, but I'll keep more eye on that. Cause yeah, we definitely have spray that we hit them with.
Okay. I have one question.
Yes.
If you could bring me up to speed on the Little League batting cage, like where is that going to be in relation to the park, or is that an addition?
I mean, right now it's gonna stay right where it is.
Okay.
So
already
it's the one closest to the field house. That's the one that's considered Little Leagues.
there. Okay,
And then softballs is the one further down at the very end.
okay.
And, you know, Little Leagues is the one, if you walk by it, it's got half turf and half is concrete because it is so messed up. And so everything, at least right now, it's bid to basically put in all new turf and new net and everything. So it'll look much better here, hopefully in the next month or so.
Okay, thanks.
And the old swing set that's up there, remember we saw that yesterday, is
Yeah,
that
do we
going
know,
away?
so if it's not, like, I was waiting till we had a next bulk pickup day. Do we know when that might be?
It's usually in March.
Yeah, but usually it's in March.
Cause I was hoping I could just wait till then and then just walk it over and put it in, cause we usually park them in the back, right?
Yeah.
The big
But we
dumpsters.
need city staff to help with that too. With the-
Either way, but that was my thought process, but
It's
if
for
you
bulk
think we
pickup
need
day.
to get rid of it beforehand.
We just noticed it up there, as I said, we did
Yeah,
our
no,
first
it's
park
just,
walkthrough.
it's non-usable, cause one of the legs is kinda cracked, so we can't put a weight bag back on there anymore.
Okay, so bulk pickup day, right. Okay, anything else on the lease, or?
Can I ask a question?
Of course, sure.
You had mentioned that your practice starts on February 3rd,
It'll start sometime during that week.
and that gentleman, whoever that was here, was talking about the signage about no, 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 and all that.
Mhm.
And I'm here actually to talk about Rollingwood and Women's Club donation for signage. Is there a way to post when people can or cannot use? I mean, I assume when you're in play, the public cannot use the fields, am I right?
Right.
Correct.
So how will people know that?
How have we done that in the past? Have we done that?
I don't think we've done
Okay,
We
that.
so
haven't
maybe-
really, so I don't know on Little League, but softball at one time had our schedule posted on our website.
I wonder if we did, if we could put a posting in our kiosks and then maybe do a next door posting with just kind of an update. This is,
I think we post the ordinance in our kiosks, which says that as long as the children are playing on the fields, there is no off-leash use of the fields.
What if
But-
people are just wanting to play with their kids? Like,
if
Well,
there's a
that's
scheduled
If it's
practice,
a scheduled practice, they
You
can't
can't be
use
on
it.
it.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's
How do we-
something,
I don't, I mean, I think for your audience, your website is a great place, but there are lots of people that go there that don't have kids and would never look.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
we will have the schedules to the city if there's, I don't know what's the best way to distribute that out to the
Kiosk
community.
should be good.
What
Um,
about the kiosks? What about a post on Nextdoor? And,
Maybe a link on the city.
Are your
and a link
schedules
on the
firm?
city website.
I mean, my kid plays soccer and that schedule changes all the time.
The games are evidently set. The
Okay.
practices are usually pretty set unless there's a rain out.
Okay.
If there's rain outs, then it starts, okay, can we reschedule some night
Yeah.
or reschedule the
Yeah.
game?
It's an outdoor sport.
So what do we think is the best?
So there's
here's your
usually like I
season dates.
give Amber, I'm like, okay, Monday nights, 12U practices, 5 to 7.
So how good are you about updating how good is the league about updating the website?
I do not
Like,
usually
real good,
update it
or-
if it's a reschedule.
Yeah, so that's the problem.
I think
is
we
that-
just need to put something general
Yeah,
up there,
like-
that these
I
are
agree.
the times
Yeah.
I
that,
think if we put the original
Season has
schedule that they have,
started.
their practice schedules, it'll be totally fine.
yeah, I agree.
I don't even know if I'd put the practice schedules because then there's some people that are gonna be like, oh, well, I'm up here on this day and you don't have it, it's not listed. I think it's simply February 1st through mid-May, pick the dates a little bit after the season technically ends and say, these are the dates of the season. During this time, scheduled practices take precedence, something simple because your practices switch.
I agree.
And there will be that one person that's gonna be like, well, it's not over there listed, and so I think it has to be a little more
General.
general to protect, just to protect y'all, to protect
Yeah,
the,
that's fine. We can have it.
okay,
But
so.
I would think that you probably need to post it, physically post it.
Yeah,
We are,
no,
the
no, that's what we're
kiosk.
saying, in the kiosk,
On property, not necessarily just a website, but like.
right, no,
Yeah,
we're saying
kiosk.
in the kiosks,
But the kiosks
the
are down
kiosk is
here.
down here.
right.
There's one up
Whereas
there,
if
isn't
they're-
there?
We've got the small one up there, and we're gonna
We're gonna talk about
discuss
that in a
kiosk in a
Yes.
minute,
There's one on the fieldhouse wall, but I guess as Phil
we
mentions,
can-
most of the other people are coming in from the other side of the park.
right, and,
We can table that part of it.
right,
Get
we'll
to
discuss
us,
that,
one
but
part of it.
how about we
Something to
work on
think
a
about.
posting, we can get with Amber and get the dates and work on a posting in addition to the ordinance that can be put in the 2 kiosks. And, I don't know if there's a way to put like
Can we get some signs to put like on the gate,
on
Around
the
the gates?
corrugated, yeah, like I wonder if there's something that could be hung over the gates that was plastic that you could put it in there so that it's not a permanent sign, but that it is something that is weatherproof that could go out there.
Well, we could ask JR, but the neighborhood ran him off, so.
This is what I do for a living, I can get this stuff super.
Yeah.
No, there are definitely things, I've seen them at other organizations where they have them on the field,
Right,
where they have them on the gates. You can probably go online and find them.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
just something that we could stick in
Yeah,
there
you
and then
just-
people know,
Or you can pull them in and out as we need to update them whenever.
right,
Yeah,
that's fine.
I agree.
All right, I guess,
Before we get more signs,
Yeah.
isn't it apparent when there's a team practicing on a field with like a coach or two and a bunch of little kids? I mean,
Pretty
isn't
obvious.
it
much.
pretty obvious that
yeah,
I would vote for no signs.
I think just an education campaign, just
Based on
simply
the
like,
comments of
yeah.
our earlier person, like any reasonable person that sees a couple of adult age people and a bunch of little kids with bats and balls and gloves is gonna know that there's a baseball or softball practice
I
going on.
personally like the signs y'all do, so.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, we can't tailor everything to whoever decides to come in here and give us their opinion. I appreciate that he did give us his opinion, but at the same time, when things are destroying our park, we can't let it go on just because someone doesn't want rules.
No, I get that.
I'm not saying this to
agreeing
you, I'm
with
just
him
saying in
though,
general.
in terms of like just an.
Too many
I actually
signs.
personally agree with him that we don't want too many
Right,
signs.
I agree with that.
And so I think, just coming from like a reasonable perspective, if I walk out there with my dog and there's adults and children with bats and balls and gloves, it's pretty clear they're having a practice and I'm not gonna go demand to be on the field.
Right, I think a general posting on Nextdoor and in our kiosks and maybe on our website is probably what's necessary. Just sort of kind of as we re-educate the neighborhood,
Yeah.
because there have been some people that are like, I'm not getting off the field.
Is this an issue? Is this an actual
Yes.
issue where you have
It's
people
something that happened
refusing?
Last season, I think, there was like a parent coaching some small kids and he had claimed he was part of your organization, but really he was just a parent out dog park and there was some sort of conflict.
It's not a dog park.
And this is, well, multi-use field.
I mean, I'm up there all the time, and I haven't had, I mean,
Yeah.
there've definitely been people up there, and I've just told them, hey, we have practice, and they've all.
Yeah, I think
they were
people are
totally
pretty
understandable,
understanding.
like
Okay.
any other league.
But there's also, as mentioned, I think there's some other teams that use it that aren't leaseholders.
So that-
Right.
Maybe that's what it was.
And
There's
so I think-
soccer, like, I mean, I wouldn't say full teams, but like some of the flag football teams go up there and use for practices. It's a
Yeah,
park.
but I kicked them all off. It wasn't that big deal. I mean, if we
Yeah.
had practice, we just asked them to leave the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
I think just a general announcement on Nextdoor
Yeah.
and on our website and in the kiosks but letting
that's
people
good.
know, here's the rules, here's this, that's it. I mean, but I don't think we need big massive postings or
No.
big massive
Yeah, the more
signs,
you talk about it, I mean,
you know.
It's
kind
just
of
one more
overkill.
thing for a coach to pull out and remember to put away. I don't know.
Yeah. I think just an update in our kiosks, you know, where it's a little more versus simply the ordinance, because nobody reads the full ordinance, just, you know.
I totally agree. I don't think I've even read the full ordinance.
I was like,
So-
nobody reads that far. They need bullet point 1 and 2.
I
That's
just
it.
don't want to solve problems that aren't actual
Yeah.
problems. So if your coaches are coming to you saying, we're having a huge problem, we're having to fight with everyone every time we like try to have a practice, then clearly it's something we need to address. But if it's not an actual issue that you're having, then let's not try to fix it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
I agree.
all right. Is that good? Anything else? All right.
Then on 4, Amber can probably give you on the city side. I just know we do have a meeting finally scheduled. It took us a while to kind of get everyone's schedule linked up. So we are scheduled to meet January 23rd. The city liaisons and Little League and softball, and sit down and hash out the lease.
All right. Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next, discussion and possible action on recommendation to City Council to adopt rules for the off-leash area. I passed.
I have one.
Okay, you've got one. These to everyone. I guess we sent. We had looked at New Braunfels rules last month. I talked to Wendy Hunley today, and City Council's kicked it back to us because it's too much like a dog park, and we don't want it to be a dog park. And so, I went through just on a first look and pulled off. I struck through several, and then highlighted a few that. You know, I guess, you know, we're not wanting more signs up there, but my thought is asking for some of this stuff to be put in the code, and the two things that are the most important is no commercial use and the number of dogs per owner, because that gets rid of the dog walking groups and things like that, because I think our biggest concern was the one owner per 3 dogs and no commercial endeavors with pets. So I don't know what y'all think or what you want us to send back to you, but I had kind of looked at, you know, what could you just add to the code that would improve it or cover it, and then what would we want posted up there? And I think it's the no commercial endeavors and the one owner per 3 pets. Or, you know, 3 pets per one owner.
Well, I'd like to revisit item number 4 with the digging of holes. Like we had, if the people had an easy way, be it a plastic cup to use and a trash can full of dirt or anything, any way to fill in the holes would be useful for both the dog people and the softball people. Right now, there's no way to fill in the hole other than trying to shove the dirt back in, and that's not gonna fill the hole. The holes continue to get bigger.
It's really issues on 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
It's not really on 1 and 2. It's really
Yeah.
on 3, 4, and 5. So surely there's something we can do.
I mean, I think,
It's
you
worth
know,
a
we
shot,
said
right?
using a shovel would lead to problems or something like that. I mean, literally just a cup or a little bucket to
Kind of like
put
what they
dirt
have on a
back
golf
in.
cart, where you go and you do your divots.
Anything, you know.
Probably makes sense to not have it up there in the spring when all the kids are up there, so they don't play with it. And they're up there the majority of the time anyway, so really it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue like from February 1st to May. But for the rest of the year, it would just because you have so many kids going in and out of there. But I mean, I'm all for trying whatever.
I think having it all the time, I mean, if we don't have it unless during the periods of time when the kids are there, then the holes get filled in by, Western Hills. You guys take control of it. What I'm trying to do is have a way
Yeah.
so that dog owner people can be responsible and help mediate the issue that their dogs are inevitably occasionally going to create.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I wonder if you just have like a plastic bucket with a lid
think
and then
yeah.
a scooper in it.
Yeah, I think a plastic trash can full of dirt with a lid that's, maybe one of those lockdown lids that's a little bit more childproof or whatever. I mean, it comes back to if the kids are digging in and playing in it, then hopefully there's an adult to kind of say, hey, that's not really for that or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could just try it.
There's no reason.
It's
to not
sort of
try
a,
it.
just
It's
try
easy.
it
It's
out.
easy to undo,
Right.
Yeah.
right? If it's not working out, we can modify or
Would
whatever.
you want to be in charge of that? Like figuring out like the
The
right type
container.
of little container, maybe that has wheels on it, and then some sort of scooper.
I don't think. I think it'd be better without wheels. Just if
No
we
one
can
can
figure
run
out
off
some
with it?
place that's non-intrusive to put it for both you guys. There's not. We don't need tons of dirt moving in there, and you can make several trips and whatever. But I mean, if we can work with you guys to figure out where we could put it, it could be on the outside, it could be on the inside, whatever. But just some way, and sure, I mean, I can go down to Home Depot and look at pocketable trash cans and figure that out. That's not the problem. Is there any kind of grade of dirt that you guys typically, I mean,
3, 4, and 5, no.
yeah. So I mean, we just gotta somehow find some dirt, get some kind of a trash can, get, a large plastic cup or something that somebody can't use as a weapon or won't, and then we're good to go. But I would like you guys' input on, I don't want to put something in a place that's going to be, unusable or, impact you.
It'll be easily
Well, why don't you just find
Portable.
whatever receptacle you want to use?
Okay,
And I'll go up there with you and we'll figure it out. between the
Super.
two of us. 'Cause my little kids go up there all the time. So
okay, that'd be great.
I kind of know where little kids go and don't go.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I mean,
y'all
we
are
also.
charged with that.
Just
Yeah.
let me know. Just reach out to me once you.
Okay,
figure out
great.
Whatever you want to do.
Sure. We might want to, since we did have a problem with the recycle bin starting to collect doggy bags, and it's kind of one of those things of, once one goes in there, then suddenly, it's the graffiti issue, once you get one graffiti, then if you don't immediately address it, that type of thing. So I don't know whether inside or outside be better, but we'll play it by ear and we'll work with it. Maybe once again, we're back to signs, maybe a sign of,
About labels
this
of-
is not for
Why not
trash.
just a sticker on
This
it?
is-
Sticker.
We
Just
could
a
even
sticker.
stencil on some spray paint it, dirt
Why don't you
or
get
blah,
us a
blah, blah,
sticker?
not trash, no trash or whatever, just to kind of make it more obvious that that is not a trash receptacle. This is for maintenance of the field.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. You two are working on that. Let's get back to what we want to send to council. Buck, do you want to look at these?
I actually have to do it right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, actually, we have one question for you though. And this is skipping to another item. I apologize, but before you leave, on the irrigation, the drip
Oh, yeah.
irrigation,
So
what's
drip irrigation is terrible.
okay?
It doesn't work. And it just doesn't work very well in general, especially for grass and plants. From my own experience and talking to landscapers that use it, it just requires a lot of maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And the second somebody goes over there and puts a sign
Mm-hmm.
in that section, and if they puncture any part of it, you have to redo the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they make new sprayers that spray lower.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that a grass area or is that a plant area?
Well, it's both. And the reason we put forth the drip irrigation, when Cleanscapes was here, that section right along Gentry over here on the
Yeah.
parking lot, it's really narrow. And so what they said was that drip irrigation is what City of Austin and other areas use simply because if you use a head, more of it winds up, it misses the actual grass and winds up on the sidewalk and on the cement versus actually watering the plant. We
But
do have
butts-
some beds over there
But
too.
if you're doing plants as opposed to grass,
Well, we've got both.
even grass, they still make the low sprayers.
Okay.
And
that work.
the number one cause of water leaks in our city is drip irrigation.
Okay.
Literally,
Well,
that is where we lose
We
all
just
our
went
water.
by the recommendations of Cleanscapes,
Yeah,
and
no,
we
I
are
was
happy
really
to call
I
them
was
back
really
and
surprised.
say, we wanna do heads.
Yeah.
Let's look at the heads instead and figure that out, but we went based on their irrigation recommendation, because we actually pushed for heads and
No,
they
I get
pushed
it.
back.
I'm getting ready to rip out all the drip irrigation at my house, and then 2 other council members started talking about it, and they're like, yeah, it's funny you say that, all the problems we have at our house are where
Yeah.
the drip irrigation
It's
is.
always
Okay.
it always
Well,
leads back to
we will
drip.
go back to Cleanscapes ASAP, because we want to get that fixed for spring so we
Yes,
can
it
have
looks
green
good.
grass and healthy trees. All right.
On the trees, they have these little deals that just like pop up
Mm-hmm.
on the tree and can irrigate like exactly
They're
where the
bulbs,
tree
they're called
is.
bulbs.
Yeah. I have them at my house.
I have them at my house too.
All right. So, okay. Well, back to what we want to send to council. What do we want to send to council?
Are
So-
park hours dawn to dusk?
What are park hours?
Dawn to dusk.
So
So-
redundant?
What?
First one's redundant a little bit?
Yeah, so we could take that off.
Yep.
I had highlighted that as, yeah, okay. So take that one off. And then it's only a few.
I would put the legal disclaimer towards the bottom maybe, cause I don't know.
Well,
Not that
and
that's
what do
not
we- what do
important,
we
but like,
want?
what do we want at the top? I think we want no more than 3 dogs per adult at the top.
Right, so maybe put, okay,
We want the important stuff first.
right.
And
So-
don't start with no. Just
Oh,
put.
I'm sorry.
I'm teasing.
Okay, or we could put only,
Yeah, I would put only 3 dogs. Well, no, you can't
yeah,
say
you
that.
can't say that.
Dogs must be accompanied by people.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I agree less is more, but what should we give them that we want put into the ordinance? I think the 2 most important parts are the commercial, again, and the number of dogs. And then,
So this is language for the ordinance, not for the sign.
It's
well,
both.
it's recommendation for the language for the ordinance. I think what we have to say is, you know, the lawyer can devise the language for them to use, but these are our recommendations.
Okay, got it.
You know, to be put into code regarding, I think, number 14 and, number 3.
I do think it is a somewhat valid point on number 3 to say something more like dogs must be accompanied by a person or something like that, rather than starting off with no at the
Right.
beginning of the sentence. I do think that is somewhat off-putting.
And
for
I would
the-
just start with clean up after your dog and then put the ones about,
I agree.
you know,
So
I
maybe
would
just
start
put
with
3 things.
number 1, number 2, 3, and then 4 is the legal disclaimer.
Okay, so 4 is legal disclaimer.
So the first one would be clean up after your dog and dispose of the waste materials in the proper container or some, you know, I don't know if properly is.
I don't even think you
enough.
need to say proper content. I mean, we
Yeah.
can just,
Waste
simpler
material.
is better,
Yeah.
you know?
And
In
then
provided
the number of dogs.
bin.
Well, just clean up after your dog. I mean,
Yeah.
people know what that means.
Okay,
But
so-
some,
Like-
but
but
to the point
simply
of their
in-
finding trash bags of other things where they don't belong.
Right,
You can't
That
just put it wherever
was-
you want.
yeah. I mean, that there's gonna be one-off instances, we try to address them with language all over the place. It gets cluttery, I think.
Yes,
I think
agree.
if we just kind of start off with, please be respectful of the park and clean up after your dog, and especially like same I know it's kind of a fluff issue, but saying please and things like that
Yeah.
might be helpful to just start off with a nice,
I like the please
Tone.
be respectful of the park.
right,
Clean up after your dog and
and I think that's,
dispose of
Enough.
waste materials.
Okay, hold on, we're gonna do this exactly. Dispose.
well, I think fewer words is better. I mean, people know what clean up after your dog means. So I think they know that means disposing. They know that means, you don't just,
Okay, well, we have to have, here's my thing is,
okay,
we have to send two things to council. One is, what do we think they need to add to the code that fixes this? And then two, what do we want posted at field 3, 4, and 5 regarding dogs?
Can we address one first then?
Yeah.
Okay, so should we just go through these numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
mhm.
Is everybody good with one?
Yeah.
So for the
One is
ordinance-
please be respectful of the park, clean up after your dog.
Oh, no, no,
Well,
no,
that's the sign.
that's the sign.
We're
Let's do-
talking
Are
about,
we
The
doing
ordinance.
ordinances?
yeah,
let's do
let's
the
talk about the
ordinance.
ordinance first and then the sign second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So for the ordinance, do we want to keep number 1 in?
I would think
Or is-
that's useful.
Yeah.
May
okay,
as well.
keep number
I
one.
mean, it may
Ordinances
be
can be long,
redundant, but
signs
why
need to be
not?
short,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's better to have it in there than have it, just kind of,
For the ordinance 2,
Okay.
I'm a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, 3,
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
4,
yeah,
Yeah.
great. You had crossed out 5. We don't need that for the ordinance.
Right.
Okay,
Because that's already in our ordinances.
great.
And then they,
6, do we want that in the ordinance or is that overkill? Is that why that's
Think-
crossed out?
yeah, they discussed that.
I'm
in their
okay
meeting.
crossing out 6.
Okay. Keep 7.
7, keep. 8,
I think so.
yep,
keep.
sure,
9.
yep.
Yep.
I think 10 to get rid of.
I'm okay with getting rid of
You
that.
can't really police that. And then council members wanted to get rid of 11.
Okay.
Is 12 already part of the ordinance? Or
12
why
is
would we
already
take
part
that
into
out?
our,
Okay.
our ordinances in general. And then 13, that's hard to,
That's a little
yeah.
overkill again.
And then 14, commercial professional dog training is not. Dog training, or should we put, or dog businesses, dog walking, because,
I was thinking about that because someone could say, "Well, I'm not training. I'm just walking."
yeah,
But isn't that
So-
commercial?
no, because we have dog related, we should put dog related businesses. Or, yeah, dog,
Or we could just say dog training or walking is not
Yeah.
allowed.
okay, training. Or walking.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of confusing. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say if we're really trying to address no business aspect, just say,
No dog businesses.
dog,
The commercial,
Commercial,
professional dog training
professional dog
businesses are not
business,
allowed.
dog
to use it.
training,
Businesses.
or, yeah.
Or should we, but do we, Amber, do we need to put training, walking, or is it just dog businesses?
I think for the
It's dog
purposes of
related
the ordinance,
businesses.
I would say commercial use of the off-leash area is not permitted.
Okay.
And then if you were gonna put it on a sign, just to make it clear, no professional dog walking or training is allowed.
Yeah.
Area.
I mean, in the ordinance too, we could say no, kind of what you're saying with the commercial, and then sub to that, this includes
Yeah.
training, walking, you can
Yes.
add what that looks like if there's any kind of
Any kind of confusion.
confusion on what that is.
You're making money
Really trying
with
to-
dogs
Would it
up
be
here.
anything other than training or walking? Are there any other things that need to be covered? I can't
I
think
guess
of
we could
any.
put training, walking, etc., and then that way it kind of. or something.
Great, etc.
Catch-all.
That's a good word.
I mean, because somebody's gonna come up with something. Grooming. They're gonna start grooming out there. Okay.
So we're happy?
Well, let's make okay, so what would our actual motion be? Our motion to recommend the council add the following items to our codes and ordinances regarding dogs.
Regarding dogs or regarding the off-leash area?
I think it's dogs because it
In
covers the
general.
whole park then.
Okay, so then we need to change number 14 to specifically
Commercial
refer to
use
the
of the
off-leash
park.
area.
Yeah, commercial use of the park.
Wait,
Is
we're
not
saying, okay,
Well,
so that's,
the way it
that's
was,
different than saying no off-leash use by commercial dog walkers, right?
Right, but commercial use of the park
in general,
in
is
general
not
is not allowed. So I think you just have to put it that way. What, Amber, what do you think on that? Commercial use of the park?
Are you saying you can't, a dog walker can't walk around the park?
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm,
Okay.
that we've just stepped into a
How do
new
we,
sort of.
how do we do, I guess.
Well,
could
the
we
way
ask for
that Amber
clarification?
worded it a minute ago was commercial use of the
Off-leash.
Off-leash
off-leash
area.
area.
But then what happens if they're not, cause you know, we've put, well, okay, are we then covered for the entire park where it says no more than 3 dogs per adult? When it comes to that, cause that's what winds up hitting us with the dog walkers. It's one thing if it's one person with 2 or 3 dogs and they're walking, but it's the groups that are coming up with 9 to 11 dogs with one person.
Is this ordinance intended just to govern the off-leash area, or are you wanting to govern the entire park?
I thought we were just talking about the off-leash area. That's where I was coming
Y'all
from on
wanna-
this. I didn't realize
Why
it
don't
was
we
for
leave
the
that to
whole
city
park.
council to decide on that it can cover just the off-leash?
I would say stick with that for now, since it
Okay.
seems like we don't have.
An issue
An
otherwhere.
Okay.
Yes.
I just don't wanna create an
Yeah,
issue
we don't want to
somewhere
push the
else.
issue somewhere else in the park.
Like,
Well, yeah, that's
point.
what I would think. I don't know why we would want to create more restrictive things on the off-leash dog area than
The rest of the park,
yeah.
right? That's
I mean,
what I was
think
thinking.
it's for the whole park.
Well, but the off-leash dog area is off-leash. I actually don't have any problem with a dog walker who has 6
Right.
dogs on leash because they're controlling those dogs on leash. It's different when they bring them into the off-leash area
Right.
and let them go.
And let them go.
And that the off-leash area is actually ball fields where kids are playing. So I think you do have a greater responsibility to be more restrictive.
Okay, so, okay, alright, so how should we phrase our request to council? Or our,
I think it's
recommendation.
the way it is the off-leash area. I think
Okay.
that's the title.
okay, so proposed rules for the off-leash area of the park.
Yes.
So I guess I make a motion to submit to council proposed rules for the off-leash area of the park using number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 7, 8, 9, and 14 changed to commercial use of the off-leash park area is not permitted. Does that work?
Well, when you say commercial
Yeah,
use,
that's
then now
really ambiguous.
you're gonna
Okay,
have,
so do you wanna put it commercial, use for dog?
well, you might wanna say commercial dog related or whatever, because you already have commercial use of the
Okay.
off-leash
I liked
area
the et
with,
cetera.
the other
Commercial,
trainings and things
professional,
like that.
dog training, walking, etc. is not allowed.
Commercial, professional,
You could say that.
dog training, etc. is not allowed. Okay. So we will change.
Training, walking, etc.
So we will change 14 to commercial, professional, dog training,
I would just-
walking,
yeah, you
etc.
got an idea?
Is not
How
allowed.
about instead of training, just say handling?
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Say commercial, professional, handling,
Dog,
Dog
handling.
dog
Handling.
handling. How many of us it does?
You just got rid of 3 words.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Is not allowed. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we need a second. was my motion.
Oh, I'll make a second. All those in favor?
All those in favor? Aye. All
Any-
those opposed?
Any opposed?
Any opposed? No. Okay. So I will pass this to Ashley at the end. All right. Number.
The sign.
Well, now we
Well,
need to.
now
Oh,
we
sorry.
gotta
Now we
sign
need
we
to
gotta do
sign.
the sign.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what do we want on a sign up there regarding the dogs?
So I had written earlier in our discussion that number one would be, please be respectful of the park, period. Clean up after your dog.
I will second
I think
that.
that's great.
Okay.
Okay. Two would be, dogs must be accompanied. Well, I think it should be, that's a tricky one.
Dogs must be attended.
Each adult can have no more than 3 dogs.
We're not just having adults, we're having, because we've already addressed in previous meeting about children 10 and,
Yeah,
you
they
know.
took that out
They
there.
took that
I
out.
know, but
Yeah,
still, there will be people who
per person.
have responsible kids bring dogs up
Yeah.
there.
So purse.
So I don't think adult is
Dogs
necessary.
must
You
be
just need an
accompanied
attendee.
by no. I'm trying to combine no dogs without people and no more than 3 dogs per person into one, so it's not so wordy.
This one down.
And then I had, we'll go back to that one, but 3 was the commercial use, and
How
4
about
was
dogs
the
must be attended by a person, or maybe not even say that, but
What do you
dogs
say?
must be attended,
accompanied.
accompanied at all times in the off-leash area, no more than 3 dogs per person.
And then what did we want for the third one?
I had that commercial one,
Okay.
and then 4 was the
Legal disclaimer.
legal disclaimer.
I think that's
Okay.
plenty.
Do we, have anywhere that there's an ordinance, do we refer back to the ordinance anywhere or not so much?
Amber, what do you think on that?
I would,
Okay.
but you'll have to wait until the ordinance is.
Yes.
Well, but once we
We
have
won't be
the
making the
ordinance-
signs
Yeah.
until it's set up.
Yeah.
So I guess let's wait until they approve the order, till they fix the ordinance.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about signage, we could say, I mean, we're just trying to figure out what we're gonna have on a sign. We're
Yeah.
not locking it in right now, but I think at the very bottom, having something of, for further information, please refer to the ordinance, show them where they can see the ordinance that
Right.
governs all of
All
the
of
park
that.
area, or something like that.
Or that
at
could
the
be a
very bottom.
kiosk item as well.
Definitely will be a kiosk item that would go
Yeah.
in there.
Wherever it is, just say, for further information,
Right.
refer to
Here's the
this,
ordinance.
here's where you find it. Wherever that is, that's online, that's kiosk.
So that's our working, and I guess what we can say to council is we can say, we would like to put a sign, a Hatley Field 3, 4, and 5 sign that, that has the following on it, once approved. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, do we need
Let me
to?
read number 3, just to make sure I have the correct verbiage. Commercial use of the park for dog handling is not allowed. Commercial dog handling use, is that how we said it before? Or commercial use of the dog park for dog handling is not allowed. That sounds weird. I don't know. Any opinions?
My opinion
Suggestions
would be
for
just
changes?
commercial dog handling use of the park is not allowed.
Okay.
I think. Does that sound?
Of the park or of the off-leash area?
Yeah,
Oh,
We're getting back to that again.
yeah,
okay. Off leash,
off leash.
that's what you're saying?
guess, Amber, on this one, since we're not asking approval yet from city council, should we just send it to them saying, with like a note, once the ordinances are updated, we would like to post something like this at the park, but we can't until the ordinances are
Right, I'm
updated.
happy to convey that message.
Okay, alright, so we don't have to
Signage will
approve
come
this
later,
yet.
but
Okay.
this is
Okay.
how they would
Alright,
like
so
the.
we'll give you that, and you can say this is what their work in progress is.
Yep.
Okay, alright. Okay, so item number 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 can kind of work together because it's Cleanscape's maintenance schedule, park maintenance and upkeep, and Gentry Drive irrigation. We're gonna call, after listening to Buck, it's obvious we need to have Cleanscapes come back and look at that area and give us a new bid on
Low spray heads.
low spray heads and tree.
Bulbs.
So. And then we want to ask them for the maintenance schedule to give us a 12-month maintenance schedule of what needs to be done and when. And is anyone opposed to that? I mean,
I'm sorry, what was that again?
we
A
wanna
monthly
ask
schedule.
Cleanscapes to
Oh.
give us a 12-month, like when things need to be done, when does it need to be cut back?
Sure.
When do we need to, aerate, what do we need to do when, so we have it on a schedule for us, so that.
We can do checks and
Yeah,
balances.
so that we can make sure the prior month at our park meeting, we're making sure the city, we can say, hey, let's schedule this, make sure it's scheduled, and so that it becomes an automatic part of our schedule versus an afterthought, cause right now we don't have a schedule. So, and then getting them, they haven't sent us this month's irrigation check, so we're gonna get them moving on our irrigation check of our system.
Is that a smaller meeting that we want to have, or is that something you want to address right now?
I don't know, do we want 1 or 2 people to meet with Cleanscapes and come up with, would anybody be interested in meeting with Cleanscapes to do that?
I feel like Mary Elizabeth and I,
Y'all
Yeah, I
want-
felt like
thought
we
y'all
already
wanted to do
divvied
that.
all this out.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we talked about it and then it just didn't
Okay.
happen. So I'll get back in touch with her.
Okay,
We probably still need to, the 3 of us, do the walk together.
okay,
But I feel like a lot of that needs to come from Cleanscape sort of telling us more than us necessarily telling them.
right, well, I think we need to meet with them and say what needs to
This
happen
is what,
when.
yeah,
But let's come up with a master
Yeah.
calendar of it, because, they get doing
We
what
want
they wanna
accountability.
do. We want
Yeah.
accountability.
we wanna know when you walk up there, well, should that have happened, or is that next month?
Yeah, or this didn't happen, why not? And so, 'cause yesterday, Amber and Ashley and I walked the entire park and went through, and we were like, oh wow, we need the mulch in the playgrounds, and look at this, the irrigation's all up above the ground over here, this is all dead. So we have a list that's going to be emailed.
Yeah, I think having a schedule 1 year, and then if things aren't working on it, then you at least have a starting place of,
Right.
oh yeah, we should have done that in February instead of March,
March,
whatever, and, then you can manage it as you go.
Okay, alright, so so that'll be tasked to Colleen and.
Yeah, we'll get a meeting set up. Does that also relate to the walkthrough checklist that I think somebody was going to work on?
We started on that. That's what we did yesterday. We kind of walked
Okay.
through
All right.
and looked at it just as a first trial of it. And so I don't know, how would we want to do that? Because we took a long time yesterday just because we'd never done it. But it was helpful to do.
I think that's just a blank Google Doc that we continue to fill out
Right.
each time someone
Didn't
walks it.
Wendy make us a really nice maintenance? I can go back and
She-
revisit that.
I think she's a
revisit that.
spreadsheet
Yeah.
of everything in the park. I don't know if it was a maintenance schedule.
I can look at that, and then we can look at creating something that we can use on our monthly walkthroughs.
Right.
Because if we're each gonna take turns
Yeah.
doing monthly walkthroughs, it
It
would be
needs to be
nice
the
to have.
same thing.
Yeah.
Cause like we
Have a
noticed
guide.
yesterday, like, you know, a bunch of the, picnic tables need to be repainted, some need to be moved, that one over there, and this is something, I guess we could talk about, remember the cement one that's by the swing set, it's really old, it's broken, it's falling apart and it's in the mud, and so there's a new one that's right next to it, but we were debating, do you get rid of the old cement one, because it is
If it's broken and
deteriorated.
deteriorating, yes,
I mean, what do y'all think?
for sure.
Yeah, I think if something's broken and no longer doing anything, you get rid of it.
And there's another one right next to it that's new and nice. No one's gonna sit on that old one anyway. I think we remove it.
Okay, should we save that for the bulk cleanup, to go away in
I'll
that?
talk to the guys about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess,
We'll see.
do we need to vote
I haven't-
to,
No.
okay,
I
alright,
have it on my list that
okay,
we need to remove it, but I'll talk to them about what would be the easiest.
okay, alright, sounds good. What was number 8, discussion and possible action on a recommendation to council regarding a policy surrounding use of the park by nonprofit organizations?
So the Girl Scouts approached
That's right,
me with a request to put up a cookie booth in the park. Staff doesn't really have a policy to address nonprofit use. We have a policy to address commercial use, so I was kind of like, I could make a decision, I could bring it to Park Commission, or I could bring it to council. In the end, there were some conflicts with our leaseholder, so it didn't matter, worked itself out, but it was something I think Wendy wanted y'all to explore, to see if you could give some tools to staff on, or guidance about how, you want to deal with requests from nonprofit organizations in using the park.
What other requests from nonprofits have you received?
That's the only one.
Okay. And what was the conflict with the leaseholder?
It was gonna be a really long cookie season, and they were gonna be starting their, practices already.
and I think also and they told last year, the high school group wanted to set up something for their cancer run that they do every year, and they had been told no as well, so it was kind of like also, you're telling one group no, and then you tell one group yes. As soon as you open it up to one, you're gonna have to open it up to all.
And the policy could be, it's not permitted unless it's a city-related function,
Event.
kind of like Police Navidad or something like that. That's fine too. Whatever, and y'all don't have to decide today. We can think on
Can
it.
we table that until we
Oh
have a
boy,
little
I mean,
bigger-
that's a hard one,
Yeah,
I think.
Women's Club uses the park, and we're nonprofit. But we come and ask we come to city council, we ask permission for a date, and it's granted, and then, would that be any different?
Well,
Like,
It's a
for 5K or
community-wide.
Easter
it's
or-
a neighborhood organization
right,
though.
it's different
You're not coming
than
in
a
from,
cookie booth from Troop 308 or whatever.
Or Scouts
and then
330.
suddenly we have 30 troops asking to use the park.
Right.
How do you decide which one? And you can't have all of them.
When you're
Right.
putting on the 5K for the entire city, it's kind of like a city slash.
Same thing with the
Yeah, I
Easter.
understand, I'm just,
Yes.
what you had just said sounded like,
You weren't gonna
I
get
just-
that use anymore.
right.
No, that's not the intent. The intent would be, of course, whatever you wanted to do. If you wanted every request to come through the park commission, fine with that too. It could be.
Do we wanna, well, we can't really talk about this offline, so it's sort of like, we
No,
could
I
just.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that neighborhood, whatever,
Events.
civic organization, nonprofits should certainly be a different group if it's the Rollingwood Women's Club or Rollingwood
Right.
Men's Club, because quite frankly, some of the money that they're raising is coming back to the city of
Right.
Rollingwood. So I look at those organizations
Absolutely.
as different than
Yeah.
Right.
I would
others.
want them to have the same privileges that the city would
I
have.
wonder if you say any external nonprofit must go through the park commission to request, or.
Do we, okay, so do we wanna be taking requests?
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
I would just say
no external-
use by nonprofits other than those that, you know,
Our
I don't
city.
know what the lawyer would recommend, but that serve the city or
that's kinda where
originate
I'm
within
leaning
the
too.
city or
Okay, I
are
can see
comprised
if we
of, you
can
know, whatever
gear
he
it like
recommends,
that.
that would include
Yeah,
the
I mean,
gentleman's
I
club
think-
and the women's club.
I would prefer that, I mean, I think people in the vein of the community and stuff like that, people can still go up there and talk and do all that, but setting up a booth at the entrance and all that type of thing. But if somebody's up there and they wanna say, hey, anybody wanna, you know, people can still do normal soliciting, just person to person and that type of
Right.
thing. But I think,
Oh, well,
I think if
yes,
we're gonna
I
have,
think we're talking
well,
about
yeah, no, I
booths
understand
This
that.
is just simply for the park. Can the lawyer just get us some recommendations for what, or y'all,
I
what it
would
could
just-
say?
I would just think
I
if we're
think you've given
addressing
me enough
commercial
policy
dogging.
direction that I could ask him to draft something up
Okay.
along those lines.
Sounds good.
So just to recap, Rollingwood Women's Club, Rollingwood Men's Club, something specifically related to the neighborhood, standard policy as normal, as we've done in the past. Any other nonprofit, no. Official booths and events, no.
I think that's much in the same way as Robert was addressing litter and clutter and all
wouldn't- I
that
would
kind of stuff. I
just-
would say, yeah,
I'm going with no.
Yeah.
I would go with
As,
no.
going with
as
no.
mean as it
I'm going
sounds
with
to
no.
say no to Girl Scouts, I'm kinda going
But
with
there are
no.
plenty of places you can set up in front
What's
of your
that?
own house.
I'd be careful how you advertise that, you don't want that on the news.
No, I know.
No.
I know.
Shut up.
Well,
No.
I'm trying to get us to
Yeah,
a
no, I
conclusion
get
to
it.
give her a direction,
Yeah,
so I'm trying not to dance around it and
Yeah.
just, I think that the Rollingwood Park, we wanna utilize that for our fundraising efforts and not necessarily
Yeah.
for external organizations.
Most parks are pretty selective. Yeah, most parks
No.
don't allow
Yeah.
it at all, so, except for an event. And that's a booth where it's selling and that's a clear distinction.
Well, even the event, I mean, you know, Marty was even saying during the events, they're actually scheduling and going through all the, you know, rigmarole to make
Yeah.
sure that everything
You
is
have to come
proper.
and ask
Right.
permission and be granted, it takes
Even
planning.
Rollingwood's Women's Club has to have permission, but I mean, I think the other things, you know, you don't see that in the other parks all around. And I think it's appropriate to say no, as mean as that might sound for times.
Okay. I'll work with the city attorney and see if we can get something drafted for your next meeting.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, number 10, discussion on planning for spring. It's my park day. It's March 7th. And so we can apply again for more mulch. I think we need more mulch actually this time. We didn't get enough. I spoke to, I think it's Troop 30, a friend of mine's in it, and they were a lot of the Boy Scouts that came out and helped that day, and they said they would love to have it on their calendar in the fall and in the spring as a day for their guys to
That'd
come
be
out and
great.
volunteer every time. So it's March 7th. We just need to decide, do we want to do it? It was really simple and easy. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a lot of work.
I think for
Who-
sure we do it.
And so,
I think we should do it, but who, didn't Marina do it last time?
Marina and Sandra and Mary Elizabeth, and so they have the information. I emailed them to see how much they requested, because that's the thing, we need to request we need to request more
More.
mulch this go
Where
round.
do we need it? Because I helped with It's My Park and
Okay,
doing mulch, and it
We
seemed like
didn't-
we had too much
we
at one
didn't-
point, so where do we
we
need it?
didn't have any down here.
Okay,
we
so
didn't
that's
bring
what-
any
yeah.
So
down
you think
here.
we need the same amount and we just disperse it differently, or you think we
I
need
don't know,
more?
I would like to know where we have the need, where you're
Mhm.
seeing the need, because we were, as you said, we were all
Right.
clustered up at the top, and at one point, they were kind of like, where else can we put this mulch?
You know what, we didn't
you know?
put any back here, and any of the beds back in the back, and I know they didn't put
Yeah.
Gentry.
along Gentry.
Right.
And further down into the lower park.
So I think those areas weren't even looked at for It's My Park. So whoever, like if we get them, and I'm certainly willing to get involved as well, like, here's what we did last time,
Right.
and we had more than enough mulch, we thought, for that. You know, what are the other areas that we need, and then we can make whatever
I wonder if we
appropriate
ask
request.
Cleanscapes how much mulch we really need and
For
where.
sure, that'd be great.
And maybe Marina and Phil can work together on It's My Park for March, since Marina has done it in the past and Phil has worked it, and they can kind of work together. So we
Do
have
you
a
wanna
park
do that?
liaison. And
Yeah, I'm willing to do it.
Okay, I'll forward you and connect you with Marina,
Okay.
and I'll forward you the information that I have in the It's Smart Park Day, because what we have to do is you go online and you have to register with them. I think, don't we have to go to city council too?
For It's My Park Day.
Approve the date,
Yeah,
right?
and
We'll
then,
check into that.
it's March 7th.
Oh,
Does
will that
that
interfere with?
impact you guys?
So I'm trying to, you guys do that at kind of first thing in the morning, right?
It's
Yeah.
It's usually 9 to
Softball, I have a
noon.
little bit more flexibility. Little League, they play all their games here at Hadley, so you're gonna have some games, I think.
So could we focus on the lower park for this one?
Well,
Since we
I
missed them
don't
in the
think, I
fall?
mean, my experience of It's My Park Day didn't impact the fields at all. Those weren't even touched. It was the area going along Rollingwood Drive, that,
Yeah.
you know, that little walkway landscape area, that was all it was. There may be a few people driving in, so it might impact the parking lot over near the police and that type of thing a little bit. But I don't see a conflict between the softball and
I mean,
baseball.
for softball, I would try to plan as many games away that day, just because, like you said, it's more about traffic into the parking lots and stuff.
Right.
But Little League, it's just,
We should be able to see that on their website, though, their schedule.
Not yet,
Yeah.
but I guess because they haven't scheduled it yet.
They usually, I mean, they have so many teams, it's like
They'll
All
pack
day
all
long.
day.
Well, maybe we focus on the lower park in the spring, since it didn't get hit in the fall.
That seems to make sense that we do one
Yeah.
area in the spring and
So
the
maybe
area closer to the
Gentry.
fields in the fall.
And
So maybe we
all
don't
around
need
the
more
lower
mulch, maybe
park.
we need the same amount we had last time, we just distribute it down here.
Absolutely. I mean, what I would like to do is, do we have an idea of when you'll have some possible recommendations from Cleanscapes?
We will call them
answers?
today and see if we can get them out here in the next week.
Yeah, as soon
To
as,
give us-
I mean, yeah, if you can let me know, and then I think that totally works. I think hopefully the area that got addressed at last It's My Park Day is
Oh,
good for
that's
a
fine,
while.
yeah.
Yeah,
They got a lot of mulch there.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully
Okay,
that
very
is all
good.
taken
So
care
we
of.
just won't
and
mess
now
with
we'll
the
just
upper.
do a different
We'll look
area.
into
Just do
that.
the
We'll look
lower and
at it.
along
Yeah,
Gentry.
yeah.
Well, and maybe what we'll also do is there's some cleanup stuff down here at the lower park, so maybe we can add that to it. We can be like,
Sure.
all right, we'll do some cleanup, or,
Will that
See
be
if-
before bulk pickup day, bulk trash pickup?
oh,
That would be really nice
It
if
would,
that
because
dovetailed
bulk
into
pickup
that.
is usually like the weekend around spring break, isn't it?
That would be great.
mid-March, that would be good.
So if it's March 7th, that would be before bulk cleanup.
So we could get it at least close to the curb.
Can we get rid of these tables out here? I guess that's not the park.
No. That's not us.
Okay.
That's City Hall. Okay. All right, so that's our there. Next one is you, Rollingwood Women's Club donation ideas. Woohoo!
Right.
Here we go.
Some money. What would you like me to?
You need to get up to the podium.
Go to the
We need to hear you
Here I am.
loud and clear.
Okay. My name is Marnie Fitzgerald. I'm the president of the Rollingwood Women's Club. Thank you for having me today. I approached Catherine and Laurie Hill about making a request from the Parks Commission to the Rollingwood Women's Club about a spend. We have our meeting on January 21st to be held here in City Hall at 7 p.m. And that is called our voting meeting, in which our members will be presented with some ideas on how we might spend our fundraising dollars to benefit the parks
and public spaces in Rollingwood. So Catherine had suggested maybe replacing or creating a new kiosk similar to the one that you see down here in the lower park, which is a covered space including 2 trash cans and a double-sided sign opportunity to recreate that up in the upper park, sort of where you walk in from the parking lot into the playground area. I think you're
It's
considering
right
that like
there
an
at the
entrance.
Ball field 1, it's that wooden sign. We put it up when we did the field house. We ran out of money at the end, but we bought, it was like $300, and it was just it's a wooden one, a wooden kiosk, but it's warped because the sun,
Because it's not covered.
it's not covered, so it
There is a
directly-
little like,
Yeah,
I mean, it is in standing condition and it is
Right.
usable, but it is deteriorating.
nice
It looks,
as
it
this
does look temporary.
and the goal would be to also at the front of that, Amber and I, when we were walking yesterday, this one out here, the side that faces Rollingwood, it's just a silver side that you can put stuff on, but everything really goes on the other side. And so what we talked about is if we did a master map of the entire park complex, where it over here it can say you are here, and then it labels everything, and you could have, and it says like welcome to Rollingwood Park, and it could do the same thing up there, but it has the fields listed, City Hall listed, the park areas, all of that. So it's a welcoming front, but then it can also have our rules, our regulations, all of that kind of stuff on it.
I think that's a great idea.
So I have contacted 2 contractors to get bids because the Women's Club likes to have some numbers, legitimate. We have put out in the past and again this year, if you want to make a request, anybody can make a request to spend our money. But it has to be, it can't just be a thought. You have to actually put together a bid and a maintenance plan and et cetera,
You
et
have to
cetera.
vet it.
I'm sorry?
You have to vet the plan.
Yes. So I have 2 contractors who worked on it. One of them is a resident of Rollingwood, or he is I can't say that he lives here, but he is a homeowner in Rollingwood, who has offered to donate some of his services, which is really helpful, helps with our cost. So I think it's possible that I could get this passed from our members. But a couple things came up in this bidding process was location, whether or not you want this, A. Do you want it in place of this already existing thing, or do you want it in a third location so that you'd have 3 signs? And so this third one would be over on the far side by the off-leash / field 2 area where often people come in there that way also. Either way, whether it's up here by the parking lot or if it's on the far side near the off-leash area, there will have to be a concrete pad put in. They can't just put it on the dirt. Any thoughts?
My preference would be right up here where,
Replacing
replacing
the
the old one. And the only reason I say that is that hopefully one day something will be done on the other side with our parking and, the trail, everything over there. And I would hate to build something that might get
Taken down.
taken
out.
down or have to be redone or moved or something like that. I'd rather move the wooden sign that's there over to the right side of the park, and then, because we know in that section that's not being changed.
So we are gonna repurpose the existing kind of warped one?
Yeah, I think we should repurpose it and put it on the other side. It could be put near the dog, put over there to house all the information, but do the newer one right here at kind of that entry point, at the end of the parking lot. And then when they figure out what they're doing with, the bond or whatever, and if that includes fixing all of that area, then do a kiosk in there. But I would be nervous to spend the money and then suddenly they go, oh, we've got to move it here because they've got to.
It won't.
Run
A new one would not be movable.
Right.
Right.
And so
It's
that's
a
what I said,
fixed-
like
Right.
existing at the end of at the end of the parking lot right up here. I think we know that's not changing. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. So the current one down here, I asked these 2 contractors literally to just copy
Yeah,
exactly
we want
what's
to
here.
be consistent.
Except for that The sign holder part of the one that's down here, we can't seem to find that exact model. I found a weatherproof
That's fine.
version, it's similar. It has one side with, open, close, lockable, weatherproof doors. The other side would be this map that you were talking
Yeah.
about, would be a fixed, permanent
Right.
piece. I guess when I say permanent, you could always take it down
Right.
and replace it if you needed to, but side one is a changeable for
For all
your
practical
postings.
purposes,
And
yes.
then side two would be a solid print that would just live
Right.
indefinitely until you want to change it. This one down here has 2 trash cans. And so the question came up, part of our vetting of this project was to mimic this one, but I have not been able to locate those exact trash cans. Maybe the city could help in some way.
Yeah,
Or
the
maybe
city-
you already have trash cans that you would just
Put there.
relocate, or I don't know if you're adding 2 more, does that increase your maintenance?
Or do you just put a bench underneath the sign, like have it just have a bench or not have trash cans?
Or you could just do no trash cans at all.
Yeah.
I'm
Do we need additional
I'm
trash
trying to think
cans
of
up
what
there?
trash cans are up there right now at
Well,
that
there's
park
several.
area.
There, I mean, they've got them, because when we looked at them yesterday, we were like, Eagle Scout project number 1, pad sites for all the trash cans throughout the park, because they're all laying in dirt, and so when it rains, the dirt gets up in the
Yep.
sides of them, and so, and then the trash, and then you can see where dogs have dug down on a couple of them, so, I don't
But
know.
do we have adequate
Do
trash
we have
cans up
adequate
there?
trash can? I don't know. And is
Or
that
are
what
there
you want
trash
us-
cans that we want to replace up there with the nice brand new
Yeah, could we
trash
move those
cans?
other ones instead of doing another pad? I mean, if she's gonna lay a pad anyway and put 2 trash cans there, does that make more sense and draw people to look at the kiosk? And then you don't have to pour pads for some of the other trash cans that are up there.
Driving
that's a
traffic to
good
the
one.
kiosk.
I don't know.
I guess if we ended up with redundant trash cans up there, we could always get rid of those in favor of the new ones
Yeah.
attached to the kiosk on a
Yeah.
pad.
I kinda like if you're already building a pad and there's room for them, my recommendation would be we put 2 trash cans there and not worry about.
Well, and as people are coming and
Yes.
going, they'll hopefully throw
So
their
you're saying
trash
2 new ones, 2 brand new ones,
Or take
existing.
2
or
and
2
put
takes
them
from
there.
other
Yeah.
place.
Okay,
Okay.
that way we don't have to pour additional pads, we're driving
Okay.
traffic to that, and
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I agree.
Unless the city would like to make a request to the Women's Club to buy 2 more trash cans, which could happen also. I mean,
Yeah,
we could make that.
I'm not sure if we need any.
I think
Okay.
we probably should look at what trash cans
Yeah.
are there, and if they're in good shape, let's use them, but if they're totally worn out, then maybe
Yeah.
we consider requesting that. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
would it be okay to just, for your meeting purposes, to go ahead and say 2 new trash cans, then we could always take them off? Or what would your preference be?
I can.
To add
it's-
them
it
in
would-
or
it is
take
for
them
my,
off?
For us, it is always easier to overbid this.
That's what
Right.
I was
and
thinking.
and not spend the money versus having to ask for more.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll need some help finding these trash cans or pricing 2 new ones. We don't have to buy them.
There's I think
These 2 down here are actually pretty nice.
yeah, and Jackie Bob's, I think there's some sort of
Binder?
like ordering company that they always ordered the same stuff from.
I'll see if I can find that.
So Amber will help you with that
Okay, even if it's just a
guideline.
guideline guesstimate.
Just
Because our meeting
just
is
There's like a
the
park
21st.
supply company that
Okay,
because I remember when we did the field house, like the tables, everything was all from the same
vendor.
vendor
Okay.
and group.
The, this thing would obviously be plaqued. Thank you, Rollingwood Women's Club. Let me think if there's anything else. Our organization likes to complete a project within 1 calendar year. So if it's approved, then we would give the contractor 1 year to build it. Amber, what would I need to do to get that? Do I have to go through city council to get that? Does the park commission go to city council to get this? Or is this body enough to say it's approved?
This body would be enough to say, it could be, because it could receive the donation and.
Okay,
and
but,
council won't need to approve to put a new kiosk in.
no, okay. but Rollingwood Women's Club is actually writing the check, right? We're not writing a check to Parks Commission. We would be paying the contractor directly.
Oh, you would?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
We can pay the contractor directly and then just get reimbursed from the Rollingwood Women's
Okay.
Club when it's all completed and finished,
Okay.
if that works best.
Okay.
All right, so what do we need to vote on? Vote on approving a kiosk as a donation to send to and we don't have to send it to council, or we do have to?
Well,
Okay.
and let me just say, this can come, I mean, if you guys as a governing body want to be the presenters of this idea, that's fine, but you, as a resident, you can just, it could be from you. It doesn't have to be from Parks
Park
Commission.
Commission.
Right.
I think it has a little bit more weight if it's coming from the Parks Commission.
So we want to vote to approve
A
the
kiosk,
potential donation from the Rollingwood Women's Club of a kiosk
For the upper
to
fields.
replace the existing one
at the upper
and then
fields.
to potentially
Move
move that over near the off-leash
dog area.
field to whatever area.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion
my
to-
bids right now would not include
Right.
So it's
Moving.
just
moving.
approving.
Right.
Moving would
Just
be,
Concrete
just the
pad,
new
new
one.
structure.
yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So the second part of that is a different discussion.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
And
So
we'll cross that
table
bridge when we
that
come to
when
it.
they
When
start
they
to put
If
that
we
in.
get it
Uh,
approved,
If
I would
it's
give
approved.
direction whether they need to
Tear it out or.
keep it or chuck
got
it.
it.
Their current bid says to tear it out. Like trash it.
Okay.
All right, so,
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second
all
that.
right, what was, the motion is to
To
approve.
approve a potential
So-
donation of a new kiosk for the upper fields
In the
place of
existing
what's
spot.
currently there.
And
Okay.
just to be clear, Marnie, you're gonna put together the request from
From you guys.
us.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
doing all the work for you.
Okay,
Thank you.
We
We-
love you,
I just wanna make
Marnie.
sure we're clear on who's doing all the work.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Marnie's doing all the work.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Thank you,
I
Marnie.
am doing that.
Marnie.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay.
While I'm up here,
Oh.
and you guys were talking about these stickers, labels for your dirt, ditch filler,
Yeah.
trash can, do you want to,
We would love to make a request for that as well.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, we do.
I'm here. You wanna,
Sure.
here I am.
Wait, are you wanting to buy the can for us too?
Well, I mean, that would be,
be-
listen, we can make whatever you want. I cannot guarantee that anybody will vote yes on it.
Sure.
Cause these ladies
We're
are
just making a
finicky, but
request.
I can put it out there.
Sure.
But you all have to like,
That'd be wonderful,
You have
but I
to
mean,
write it up.
I said I was gonna go by Home Depot and try to find a trash can. or
Okay, so
something
write
like
up the
that.
thing.
We need a sticker that says dirt fill only or do not whatever.
I mean, yeah, we could have that, or certainly, I think, depending on the type of receptacle that we get. I mean, I'm just looking for something really simple, plastic, and you could stencil on with spray paint, like.
We got a
what's the
sticker
purpose
maker
of-
right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, our
She
stickers
does this
are
for a
bad.
living,
That's
so
what I
she
do
could
for a
knock it
living.
out
Okay.
really quickly.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Um,
that'd be great.
I mean, I can help you, if you wanna make a separate request, we can certainly do that. I have no problem making that second request. If you could do the legwork on whatever equipment you want, I can do the
Sure.
stickering part of that. That's no problem.
I think
And
that'd be
package
great.
that as another deal. Okay, that's sidebar. Was there anything else? I don't think that's it. I think that's it.
All right, thank you, Marnie.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna try and run through the next ones pretty quickly. Fundraising, we're only gonna go over one quick little item on it, cause Nicole's not here, so she can do like the fundraising plan. Two things we've discovered that we can do are the Randall's card, where people could link their Randall's card purchases. They do a donation 4 times a year, so like right now my Randall's card purchases go to Eaton's Elementary, and I no longer have kids at Eaton's Elementary. I could easily switch it to the Rollingwood Park, where my percentage goes to the city of Rollingwood, and so they take a percentage of your dollars spent annually.
Such an easy way to give
And
money
so
to the
you're
park.
not even thinking. Amazon does the same thing. You can link it where you purchase when you buy on Amazon. If it's linked, a percentage of your purchases go.
So is that a paper like postcard type card that you fill out at Randall's and give to them?
Yes, you can do it online or you can fill it out at Randall's. You have to become approved as one of their people. The kicker is I sent in the application. Yes, the city of Rollingwood is able to receive donations and be a tax, entity. It must be a 501c3 for Amazon or Randall's. And so we could either establish a 501c3 or we could do a flow-through fund through the Austin Community Foundation, and it's $100 a year. We used to have one. That's how we did the field house donations. The city, I don't think, needs to establish a 501c3. We could just establish a Rollingwood Park Commission fund at Austin Community Foundation. And so 4 times a year, those donations will go into the Austin Community Foundation fund. They deal with all the paperwork, all the tax stuff, and then at the end of the year, we can go, okay, this is how much money we have in there, and put that towards our park budget, leave in $200 for, the beginning of the year to cover the cost of the $100, and then move forward. They closed, we had an Austin Community Foundation fund, and the prior park commission closed it because we were they weren't doing fundraising. And we can take donations through the city. It's just the rules through Randall's and Amazon, or it must be a 501c3. So, because I've called both, and I'm like, well, it's a city, but it goes to our Parks Commission, and both have said it must be a registered 501c3. So
I think there's also a cost to having Austin Parks Foundation. If we go under their umbrella, I think there is a cost.
Austin Community Foundation, yeah,
$100
it's
a year.
It's like $100 a year. It's a percentage.
Right. So I guess just take that into consideration.
Yeah, it's free money, basically coming through, or I guess we could establish a 501c3 through the city, but that requires management, tax. I mean, it's a whole, that's gonna be one more layer that is put on city staff. So
Yeah, I
you can
think for
either
the $100.
choose
that's
city staff to do
certainly-
it, or we could have Austin.
Well,
Community
either
Park.
way, we're gonna have to keep track of it, right? We
Right.
still have to put
But
it on
it's
the
a
books.
simpler,
and
it's a simpler way, I think. I don't know, just what do you think is the easier way to do it?
I just want to make sure if you go under Austin Community Foundation, I mean, basically they told us spend it because the account was inactive for so long.
Right.
And so if we're just gonna be paying $100 a year just to have this.
We're
open
hoping
account.
that
We're
we're
hoping
gonna
it
get the
won't be.
donations through Amazon and Randall's.
And it won't be inactive, it will be constantly
Okay.
active. That's the goal, is that it
We'd
will
have to
be-
do a little campaign to remind people and tell them how to do it and all of that.
Like a neighborhood in Houston, what they did was they did with their annual fundraising campaign, they do a little block walk and they went around giving people the information, but they also took their iPads with them and people could go on right then and there and because I know my Randall's number, it's my phone number, and so you go online and all you do is you do that, and because it's linked, they're able to put in the number and link it, or they can fill out the form and give it to you right then, and you submit it to Randall's. And so once it's linked, I never have to do anything else. Like my account is linked, and so every quarter those donations go. Randall's takes everything that goes to City of Rollingwood Park fund, and they send that check over. And so it would be.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, I mean, the same way with the credit card, that the merchant services account, there's some fees, like credit card servicing fees that, the city's having to pay for. So just be mindful
Have you
of.
talked to them recently?
Randall's?
No, ACF.
No, I mean, I know somebody.
I looked into it a year or two ago for some other nonprofit I worked with, and I didn't think it was $100 anymore. I think they charge some sort of percentage or fee or something.
Well, it depends what type of fund you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing a flow-through fund, like it depends how much work they're doing. And so,
But also, I think it is, even what it is, I think it's still a lot easier than all the stuff you would have to deal with if you were doing your own.
yeah.
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 I I mean, that's the beauty of it, and it also winds up on their webpage. So people that are looking at Austin Community Foundation, they may see Rollingwood Park, oh my gosh, and give a donation. May or may not, but I mean, and it's a vehicle that in the event we have any other issue where somebody needs a 501c3 to give it to the city, that they can flow it through there. So, when I called Randall's, I was like, how do we do this? She was like, well, we can't do it through a city. And I was like, well, no, because we're taxed. She said, no, you must be a 501c3 for us to give to. So that's for their accounting purposes. But it seems silly to lose that opportunity of funds because I spend a boatload of money at Randall's, and if a percentage of my purchases can go to the city of Rollingwood, right now they still go to Eanes Elementary. Who knew? And I don't have kids there and haven't for several years. And like Sarah Hudson even said the same thing. She said, my donation, she's like, mine goes to there. She's like, I'd certainly put it to Rollingwood Park.
Sure.
So, I don't know. So how do we go about this?
I guess
with
we need-
city. Do we need the council's approval to do that, to set that up? Or
I think we need to better understand the fees too, when we propose it to city council. I'd assume we have to propose it to them.
Probably. I would say, yeah, vet
that
ACF, see what needs to be done, what kind of paperwork's required, what kind of fees.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe it's just a reactivation too. I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe it's simpler than.
I'm wondering, since Marnie's sitting right there, if that's something that men's club or women's club as 501c3s would ever be.
I think they could. The problem
Interested in
is
rolling
some
that
people
in.
will not turn they're like, I want to fund the park. It's not going to the women's club.
Yeah,
Even if
okay.
you explain to them it's going to the women's club just as a vehicle and they're going to turn it over to the city, they still will not do that.
Okay.
So I think that's where that is.
That transparency is.
Yeah, that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And so if you lose 20 people for that, that's
We don't have any other civic organizations beside the men's club and the women's club, right?
The Gentlemen's Club is not a philanthropic.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
it's just
I'm not a member, so I don't,
the
I don't know what their deal is.
I mean, they host events that end up, but they themselves, they're not,
A 501c3.
Okay,
not.
all right.
They also have the Police Benevolent Foundation.
Yeah.
And they are a 501c3.
They are a 501c3.
Well, I would say if we can't figure out a way to get the money to the parks, the Police Benevolent Foundation should look into it, cause that would be super
Yeah.
awesome for them to be able to capture some of that, but hopefully we can find a way to bring it to
the
Rollingwood
park.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be nice. I mean, if it could garner us $5,000 a year,
That's a lot.
that's $5,000 we
We
don't
didn't have.
have, and it's
Yeah.
$5,000 we don't have to work for.
I understand what you're saying about transparency and how, but if you wanted to use the women's club, because our mission is to
Fund the
give our
park,
donations directly to the park.
right?
I mean, I'm sure we could find a way
To do it.
that, like categorize any funds that. would
Rollingwood,
come-
y'all would have to vote
would
where
go to
Rollingwood
yeah,
funds.
yeah. I mean,
I
we
just
can make
worry
that
that there
happen.
are some people that won't sign it up to the women's club.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I think that's where you kind of go, because you couldn't title it through Randall's on their list. Like if it could be titled Rollingwood Park Fund via RWC,
Yeah,
maybe that would work. But
it's worth looking at. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be no cost to
Right.
you to do.
we can check on it. I don't know if we can title it that way. Like that, I think it's all in the language of what somebody sees and what they see first. Like Rollingwood Park Fund via RWC, maybe, but if Randall says it has to say Rollingwood Women's Club, somebody may go, oh, well, I'm not giving to that, I'm giving to the park fund.
Yeah.
So, but we can check it out.
I'm officially offering, if you want to investigate doing it that
Yeah.
way, I can certainly propose that to the members of our group. I don't think anybody would have any problem
Yeah.
with
Well,
at
let's,
least designating that
that,
fund would just be a
A flow
accounting
through.
issue for our
Right.
treasurer to be able to, and then, quarterly or annually.
Right, that it goes
give
through,
money to the city.
I guess, would y'all vote on that as your like,
I can
because
put
that would, I mean,
I can put that up for a vote.
cause you don't, what I would worry about too is binding future Rollingwood Women's Clubs.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. What happens when Marnie isn't president and the next person didn't want to mess with that?
Or the next person says, oh, we're getting these funds from
I
Randall's
can ask Melissa if it's possible to.
and we wanna put them towards, you
Yeah,
know,
we were gonna
our
take
park
this money,
projects
yeah.
versus your
Yeah.
park
Yeah,
projects. Cause our goal would be to put it towards park budget
Maintenance,
and
right.
maintenance.
Okay, well, I'm putting the offer out there if you want me.
If you'll just
you want to-
investigate it,
if
I'm
you-
gonna, we're
I'm not
gonna
decide what's on
investigate.
it. You guys
No,
can
she
investigate
said you
it.
need to call Randall's and see how it
Okay.
can be listed.
Yeah.
We'll see how it could be listed and then
Okay.
I'll check. Okay.
Pet favors.
Pet pavers, update.
The pet pavers update is that we are going to order this month. I've got a meeting after this to go over our order sheet, and we'll put them in place in late spring. We decided at the last meeting that we'd be on like an annual cycle where we would close off orders on December 31st, so we're sticking with that. It's all up on the website. I feel like all the information that needed to get conveyed to the public is now on the website. We've got the gift acknowledgement cards here and set up and ready to go. I think Diana got one.
Do we know how many we sold?
I could probably answer that for you, cause there are some people that haven't paid, and there's like a couple people where we don't have their email addresses or whatever, so, in the 20s.
Yeah, about 2 dozen. was what
Yeah,
I was
low
thinking.
20s.
That's some.
So, so far so good. We just have to, kind of tie up loose ends, but that's basically the update, is that we'll be placing the order this month.
Great.
Sounds good. All right, park commission meeting schedule. We've had some members come up with, they have conflicts now on this second Tuesday of the month
And the 4th.
and the fourth Tuesday of the month. Do we, let's see, so we were looking to see about changing our meeting. Let's see, so she could accept the second Tuesday of the month. Could we would it be possible to move our meeting to the first Tuesday of the month?
It'll work for me.
I think it would work, I'd have to
I
look, but
think
yeah.
it will work for me. Are we sticking with 9:30?
You wanna stick with 9:30?
Well, it looks like that Mary Elizabeth can only do in the morning. Would you rather push it like
No,
to 10
I
or
just,
9:30?
I will be here like rolling in, just like I did today, like right at 9:30,
9:30.
cause I've got 2 kids at
Yeah.
different schools that I have
I
to drive,
understand.
so.
Is that okay with y'all if we switch it to the first Monday, or first Tuesdays at 9:30?
Should work.
Does that work? Okay. All right. And then Cleanscapes irrigation report, we've not gotten, so that will be for next month, number 15. And park finances as of
vote on the meeting time just so we?
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Motion to change our meeting to the first Tuesday of every month at 9:30.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And then irrigation report, let's move to next month because we did not get one. And discussion on the park financials as of December, end of December. How are we doing on there? Let's see.
We are 25% of the way through the fiscal year. It looks like your expenditures are
Thank you, Marnie.
at 22%.
The fiscal year starts October 9th. So we're 1/4 through. We're at 20%.
no
Thanks, Dee.
expenditures out of the ordinary, I would say. Any questions of me about the financials?
No.
You do have about $1,200 in your, it's my, park day
Fund.
account.
Okay.
And does that have to stay there?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Let's keep that there. We'll figure out the new It's My Park Day.
Yeah, if there's anything y'all need to spend,
Okay.
like breakfast tacos or
Something on that.
Yes.
We've got that. Or if we need, if we're doing the lower park this next time, you know, if there's anything for it. Okay. So it is, oh my gosh, 11:17. I move to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. That was a long meeting, but I feel like we got a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will have,
what is your